So this is just an updated video on how to use your mobile phone as a webcam. So I'm going to cover a few basics in here. First I'm going to start off with troubleshooting and your benefits with Wi-Fi and USB. I'm going to move on to which apps I think might be best for you to use, both with Android and with iOS. So I'll just jump straight into it. Now, the first question I kept getting asked on the previous video was basically, I'm trying to use it through cable and it won't work. And I would comment to use USB debugging and everyone asked how to turn that on. Every Android phone is slightly different, but it's pretty much similar kind of setting area. So I'm just going to show you real quick. So all you've got to do is go into your settings option on your phone. I have a Huawei Mate 20 Pro, and you go into the About Phone section. Now what you do is your Android build number. You just want to tap that a whole bunch of times. As you can see, mine's already says I'm a developer, but if you've not had it enabled, I think it's 7 taps and it will enable it. Once you've got that enabled, you want to find where your developer options is, usually under System, and mine's is here. Make sure developer options is on, and then you want to scroll all the way down to USB debugging. I think I'm going to buy it there. Yep, there we go. Enable it, click OK, and what will happen is you'll get prompts up on your screen. You see it's already popped up on the computer. I'm going to always allow because I use my mobile phone as a webcam all the time, so it's not so much a big deal for me. Now that that's enabled, I can show you the apps. So before we go into the apps, Wi-Fi and cable. So if you're using a Wi-Fi connection, there's a couple of things you need to have in mind. Some of these apps can have problems differentiating between your 2.4 and your 5 GHz frequency. So if your phone is connected to the opposite one from your PC, the Wi-Fi option won't work in some of these apps. But there is a couple that have some kind of cool settings that you can get round about that with. But if you're looking to get an audio quality that is indirect with the phone, so if you're using Wi-Fi, sometimes your audio is out of sync and you need to change settings to get it to be back in sync, whether that's a lower video quality setting or offsetting your audio using OBS, some extra software. But your best option is just to use the cable. It is zero latency, your audio will be in synchronization, it won't give you any hassles, any problems. So the first app I'm going to show you works on both Windows, Mac, iPhone, Android, works on all of them, and it has a free version and a premium version. So this is Iriun, and you find it on the App Store. It is the most basic one. Simply install and go. Very few options, but I'll show you what those options actually are. So this is what the software looks like. You've installed it. You do need a client on your PC or Mac, or in this case Linux. When you open it, very simple, not a lot of options. So what we're going to do is we're going to just open it on a mobile phone here. So just move that to the side. Iriun. And you'll see that it's already detected that the phone is connected because I've got the USB cable. And you guys can see it looks like it's on the wide camera angle lens. But you don't get a lot of options here. So you get 1080p, which I believe is at 30 frames a second. And we can change that all the way up to 4K. Now 4K, although it works, as you can see, it does have a little bit of a delay, so I don't know if the footage is 30 frames. There's not a lot of information on it. I've never tried analysing the video file. I believe it's 24 if I remember correctly from some forums that I read, but it's the only one I know that you can use 4K out the box on it without having to pay for premium. I use it at 1080p, and the good thing about this is with the app itself, I'll just go into a few settings here for it. I'll move that to the side. You get your options for exposure, which you can manually change if you please. You can flip the video back and forth. In your settings option, orientation, autofocus, which I don't know why you'd want to disable, but the option's there. Dim your screen. You cannot lock your phone with this one, unfortunately. That's one of the downsides of it. So if you dim the screen, your battery will at least last longer if you're on a long camera session. Hide the logo, that option is only there if you pay the £4.19 to upgrade to the premium option. And that's the only thing. It'll have a small logo just in the left hand corner. It's not even there all the time. I quite honestly only ever seen it once or twice, but I liked the app that much and I wanted to support the developers. Your camera, this is a really cool option because not all of them have this. The Iriun app allows you to select which camera you'd like to use. Front facing camera, back facing camera, or any of the lenses that are included. So if your phone has a macro lens, if your phone has a super zoom, a wide angle lens, it'll let you switch between every single one of those, which is pretty damn cool. So that's a good option to have, and that's one of the reasons why I like it, and it's not a lot of money either. So what we'll do is we'll move on to the next one, and this is Droidcam, and I very much prefer to use this, and there's a couple of reasons for that over Iriun. You can get it on both. You can get it on Apple, you can get it on Android, but you can only get it on Windows or Linux. You cannot get a Mac version of this. So if you're a Mac user, an Apple user for your PC, you're not going to be able to use this one, unfortunately. But with Droidcam X, it's pretty cool as well, and it's one of the better ones because you get so much customization. So straight off the bat, you get a couple of options for your connectivity. The only two you're likely to use is Wi-Fi or USB. So if you're on Wi-Fi, you open up the app on your phone, you're presented, I'll just move that actually over to this side to make it a little bit easier to see. Droidcam. So you get these options here, and when you open up your app, you're presented with your IP address. So you can manually type that in. As long as you're on the same network, it'll link to the camera. So if I want to start mine just now, I think it looks like it's 101. There we go, on Wi-Fi, which is pretty damn cool. So I'm going to stop that just now, and what we'll do is start again. USB, so you can do it over USB as well. So if the USB is connected, you just want to hit the refresh option. This one tends to lock up a little bit more from what I've saw, but it does eventually work. So like just now it's saying it's locked up, but pops back up, start video, give it just a wee second there. It's the only one that does it. I don't know if it's not because I've got it running the admin mode or whatever the case may be, but the app itself, I'll just go into that to show you some of the options. There we go, looks like it's working now. And again, the video in this one seems very smooth though, so I don't know, I think it's maybe a higher frame rate than Iriun. But on this, the reason I like it is the controls. So Iriun doesn't have those which you saw earlier on, so I'll just stop that just now. Iriun doesn't have that from what you saw earlier on. It does actually have a zoom feature, but you've got to zoom in and pinch the screen like you would do just zooming into a picture on your mobile phone. And that's a hassle because you've then got to lift your mobile phone down and change it and put it back, see if it looks right. And it's a pain in the backside. That, and it can't work with being locked. Droidcam can, so if I lock my mobile phone and I fire it up there, I don't need to worry about accidentally hitting the power button, accidentally clicking a settings option. Your phones have got next to no bezels nowadays, so it makes it hard to kind of judge it. But the cool thing is with Droidcam, so if we just start the connection again there with it, you can zoom in without pinching to zoom. You've got zoom controls, and with your controls as well, you can zoom in as far as your lens will let you and how clear it is. You can turn on your backlight as well, which you can't do with Iriun, and that basically will just light up your face, give you a bit more kind of picture. Autofocus is automatically enabled on both the software side and on the actual client side. You can flip the image, you can rotate it, you can take a screenshot, you can get some extra images for controls here like brightness, contrast, you can delay, boost your audio, white balance. There's so much control in it for such a good app. And if you want to buy the premium version, I know it says here it only does 720p, but it doesn't, it does 1080. That is one of the options, and it's $4.99 and it's worth every penny. And it works with a lot of things as well, which is pretty good. I'll show you just a small demonstration on the phone here as well whilst I've got it up. So if you go into this one, you'll notice that with the camera change option, you get front and back, that is it. So unlike Iriun, you can't use a wide angle lens, you can't use your macro lens, you can't use your super zoom lens, whichever it is your phone has. You're limited, front and back, that's it. These could be added as features later on, who knows, but for now it doesn't have them. In the settings option itself, very similar, except a little bit more control. So you get auto dim and keep device awake, mainly for Wi-Fi. Continuous autofocus, you can FPS boost, that might be why it's smoother on this. It is experimental, so it might not always work. Noise suppression on your audio input, which is not great. You can overlay text, very basic settings on the app, but it works really well. So moving on to the last one, which is the most premium one out of them and the damn most expensive, is Ivcam. Ivcam is very nice, I like it, it's very good, it's compatible with a lot of things as well. So it's only for Windows, but you will get it on obviously Apple devices and on Google devices as well, so Android too. And again, works on USB, works on Wi-Fi. This one works up to 4K like Iriun does, and Droidcam doesn't do 4K. But if we go into Ivcam, I won't be able to show you a demonstration of this one unfortunately, because I can show you obviously on the phone here and just a little bit here. It is connected, but you won't see a picture, and the reason for that is I've run out of the premium and I've not renewed it. Mainly because I use one of the other ones because they're cheaper and I've already paid for them. But again, you can take a picture using the client, video using the client, exposure, ISO controls, sorry, autofocus, white balance. You get features for facial enhancements as well, so facial smoothing, give you a kind of beautify effect. Again, you can flip your image back and forth and round and rotate whatever camera you're on. The good thing with this one is it works with all the camera lenses as well, which is pretty cool. Does up to 4K. Let's have a look. You get a bit more control with the settings though. So have a look here. So you can change the FPS, you can change the video quality, you can change the video format. So you can make it really precise for how you want it to look, which is pretty damn cool. But the main problem with this one is, as good as it is, I'd say it's basically a better version of Droidcam, is the price more than anything. So on the phone here, let's see if I can bring it up. There is the price plans for it, which is ridiculous. $749 for the basic annual, and that's unlimited use of all features except for the microphone, which is not a big deal. A lot of people use a headset. Premium annual, which is all features, $949 a year, and permanent, which is $22.99, which is just really steep considering you can pay $4.99 for Droidcam X, get all the features, but the actual software doesn't look as nice. You get a little bit less controls, obviously. Again, this one you can fine tune with your color settings and everything, but I just can't recommend it anymore because of that. It's too expensive in my opinion, but it's good software. So if you are looking for one of the best ones, it is one of the best ones. And lastly, I've not tried this one because it's only for iOS as far as I'm aware. This is Epoccam. If you've got an iPhone and you're running, it doesn't have to be an Apple device, any device at all, Windows, Mac, this is probably the best one to go with, quite honestly. It's trouble free, it's made by Elgato, they've just bought them, and it's really solid software. You can see just a small demonstration there on the front, all the controls you get. I'm not sure what their software looks like for setting it up or changing it, but it does work really well, specifically with OBS Studio. So if you are a streamer, you get a lot of options on there, which is pretty cool. And another thing to note, just with it saying that there, not all these are compatible with all softwares. So this one is shown here specifically Microsoft Teams, Zoom, OBS. Not all of them tell you that in the description. They usually just tell you it works as a webcam. It works as a webcam. Not supported by everything though. Had a lot of comments for that previously, saying that it wasn't shown as a webcam option. So if I was to bring up, let's have a look, Discord for example. We'll go to settings in there, go to videos, and there we go. So that's a lot of sources, but I play about with a lot of these things. So I've got my USB camera, which is the one I'm talking to you from. Snapcam, which is it's not a webcam based app, but it allows you to use like Snapchat filters over your web camera. Droidcam's there, Ivcam's there, OBS Cam, that's another one that's based on Droidcam as well. Iriun's there, OBS virtual camera, so if you want to use OBS to do things and then pull it in elsewhere, you can do that too. Plenty of options, but these are the ones that I'm most familiar with, most comfortable with, and they work really well. They're solid solutions, some good options for software there as well. So if you're looking to use your mobile phone as a webcam, make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi if you're doing it wirelessly. If you want to fix any out of sync audio, I'd maybe recommend taking a look at OBS Studio. I'll maybe make a video on that in the future if it's requested. And if you're using the cable, make sure USB debugging is enabled. Don't so much need to do that with an iPhone though, just an Android thing unfortunately. iPhones will automatically come up and ask you, do you trust this device? And as long as you hit trust, you're good to go. So hope this video has been of some help. It's a little bit of an updated tutorial compared to the original one. There's not a lot of how to set up on this one, but it gives you the kind of basics. Basically install the app, install your client on your PC or your Mac or your Linux machine, and then connect them some way, Wi-Fi or USB, and you're good to go. Check the software you're using is compatible. So all of these have a free version. Download the free version, open up Discord if that's what you're using it for, check if it's on the list. If it's there, cool, you're good to go. Check Microsoft Teams, check Google Classroom, check Zoom. If one doesn't work, try one of the other ones. It takes a couple of seconds to install, and again, it's all very similar for your interfaces. So it should be easy enough to find one that works with all software. Iriun didn't work for me on one of the Google Classroom ones, so I opted for using Droidcam because it just was much more stable and I had a lot more control over it, and I could lock my phone, which was a benefit, so the battery didn't drain anywhere near as fast. But there's some good options. I hope you've enjoyed the video, hope it's been of some help. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below, like and subscribe. And if you're looking for more of a tutorial based install, specifically for Iriun, it hasn't changed for the install for it, check out my other video linked here, and that'll show you how to do it step by step. And there's a lot of comments on that video already, so you might find an answer there that I've maybe not mentioned in this. If I do come across one, I'll put them in the comments of the video, that way it's fully up to date. But thanks for watching, have a good night.